So today we're looking at word problems that we're going to solve by graphing, okay? These are systems of linear equations. I actually love this lesson because it makes what we've been doing applicable to life, okay? So let's skip this steps for right now. We're going to do one example problem together, and then we'll write down the steps that we took to solve it. All right, so we're going to look at two parking garages. You have parking garage A charges $6 per hour for parking. Parking garage B charges a fee of $4 plus $4 per hour for parking. Okay. The first step that we're going to take is we're going to write the equation for both. What would be the equation for parking garage A? Say it out. Awesome. You guys have this down, okay? It's just a straight $6 per hour. There's no one timer. What about parking garage B? Ooh, wonderful. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to graph both of these lines on our coordinate plane, and then we're going to interpret what we see. So parking garage A, I'm going to graph in pink. Okay. This does not have a y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is 0 because there's no one-time fee. So I'm going to start here at 0. And 1 hour will cost $6. 2 hours will cost $12. 3 hours will cost $18. And then I'm going to connect my line here. And I'm just gonna label it too. This is garage A. Okay. Now garage B, we're gonna graph this line. Well, in this case, we have a one-time fee. We have $4 that they charge you. And then after that, it is $4 per hour. So that means at 1 hour, it's going to cost $8. The $4 fee plus the $4 fee for the hour. Then at 2 hours, this will be $8 plus that one-time fee of $4. That will put us at 12. At 3 hours, this will be 16, which is right here. So let's go ahead and connect. And there are rulers on the back shelf if anyone would like one to make sure your lines are nice and straight. Okay, this is garage B is the blue line. Okay. All right, so if we're looking at our graph, what is the solution? Where do they cross? Yeah, so at 2 hours, it will cost $12. So this right here is our solution. And this point is 2:12, okay? And this has a special name, this point right here. It is called the break-even point. Because at that point, both garages cost the same amount. So this is the break-even point. So now that we've graphed it and we have the solution, we're going to interpret what we see on our graph. So first of all, for part C, it says, what is the solution? The solution is 2:12. But for a real world problem, that has some meaning. And in this case, our meaning is 2 hours, both garages charge $12. Okay, so that is the point when both garages cost the same amount of money. And at that point, it is 2 hours for $12. Okay. Now let's look at the next question. It says, when is garage A cheaper and how do you know? Does anyone have an idea of when garage A is cheaper? Kara?
First hour.
What's that?
The first hour.
The first hour, yeah. Or basically less than 2 hours, right? Anything less than 2 will be appropriate. So we can say garage A is cheaper for less than 2 hours of parking. And when we look at the graph, we can really see it. You see how that peak line is lower than the blue line? All the way up until you get to 2 hours, okay? So it says, how do you know? I would say that the garage A line is lower than the B line for X is less than 2. So any hours that are less than 2, garage A will be cheaper. And then it says, when will garage B be cheaper and how do you know? Well, let's look at our graph. When is the garage B line lower than the A line? After what? After 2? After 2 hours, yeah. So after this point, you can see that the garage B line is lower than the garage A line. And already at 3 hours, it's $2 cheaper, okay? So for this one, we can say garage B is cheaper for more than 2 hours of parking. And again, we can see that after 2 hours, the B line is lower than the A line. Okay. So what you're really considering is, how long am I going to be parked here? Am I going for a quick run into the grocery store? Then you would choose the garage A because it's cheaper for shorter stays. But if you're planning on being there a while, like you're going to Disneyland for the day, okay, then you would want to choose garage B because over the long haul, it will end up being cheaper. So you have to weigh the pros and cons and think about what kind of trip you are taking. All right, so let's go back now and fill in the steps for this so that you have that in your notes, and then I'll let you guys get some practice on the back side. Oh, and if you haven't already, you should fill out this information. That way, if your notes get lost, I know who they belong to. If your binder breaks, you have the dates to help you put everything back in order. Having this information on there is a great idea. Okay, so steps. When we solved this garage problem, the first thing that we did is we wrote the equations. So our first step will be write the equations. After we wrote the equations, then we graphed. So we graphed the equations that we just wrote. And then you're going to identify the solution. Which we call, for problems like these, we call it the break-even point. And then step 4, you're going to interpret the graph, and that's when we go through and answer some questions about it and put meaning to the graph. Okay, so I would like you guys to take a few minutes to answer the questions on the back. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to write the equations, you're going to graph them, you're going to interpret them. What did you guys